Good morning all. 13 degrees Celsius, 8:45 a.m. I did a video on this album yesterday and I took it down because I actually played the record, and a lot of the things I said about this record, well, I've had a change of heart. MADDER, there's sort of I don't know, this gets 4-star reviews on Discogs and that, just an original from 1973. I'm basically just showing this to show how things can, if you look at this album, especially at the time when there were things like that horrible prog rock band, Yes, oh God, I hate them, and this cover could easily be a prog rock album. And I think they marketed it like this. Now, if you look on the inside here, they've got these very, stark black and white photos of the band, making them look really mysterious. Well, not really mysterious, but sort of mysterious. So there's a lot of... Now, if I was, say, someone that was into prog rock around that time, and I sort of was, if you call Van der Graaf Generator and King Crimson prog, but I think that's an insult. They're much better than that. But I don't know when I bought this. I definitely bought it. I bought it so long ago, I don't remember when or where. But mainly I bought it because I love the original Mushroom label, of which this is an example. Still Point, the album's called. That's the original Mushroom label, and my preferred one. I think Mushroom, their two biggest artists were Skyhooks and Split Enz. That's where they made their money, because Gudinski, the guy that started this label, he died a multi-millionaire, and he made a lot of money off those bands. In this case, it's clever marketing, because this was a band called MADDER, I think they're from Melbourne. They're so-so, you know what I mean? They're the sort of band you'd go to one of those international concerts, and they'd have to put on an Australian act beforehand. And like in Sydney, it'd usually be Piranha, which, guess what, just sound like Santana. Very good musos, but just unoriginal. And you could imagine this band being on first, before whatever international artists were touring, and people just would basically, it's just background noise to settle the crowd down, and they're good musicians. The band's still going, sort of, on and off. The lead singer, Mick Fetz, has died recently, or a few years ago. That's him there. He's a bit off-putting when you see him perform, because he's sort of, he sounds, he's trying to be like Joe Cocker. He sounds sort of like him. He pulls all these weird grimaces and facial things, and he's got that sort of weird, he's sort of like a real third-rate Joe Cocker. I'm not really putting him down. It's just that's how he comes across. I heard an interview with one of these band members saying, no, he was like that before he'd even heard of Joe Cocker. So I mean, the thing is, unfortunately, you can't help but look at him and go, oh, geez, you know. And you know, they were bearded, long-haired, boring flares. Um, it's just, it's a good album, but it's not great. It's not terrible. It's sort of nothing. And yet it gets 4 stars on Discogs. I saw an original copy similar to this going for $149 yesterday, and I thought, what the? Who'd pay that? I thought I'd probably paid this 5 or 10 cents for this decades ago. That was the other lie. It's not a lie, but it's all about marketing. This original Mushroom label, it's called Mushroom, but that's not a mushroom. What I just showed, it's a toadstool. You know, that is a friggin' toadstool. And not only that, around the same time as this, in the Krautrock thing in West Germany and Berlin, there was a label out of Germany called Pilz, Pilz, I think. Don't quote me on that. And that is German for mushroom. And that label. This is obviously influenced by that because, but the German one's much better. It's got a really colourful toadstool label. This one's sort of a bit. It's great though. It's better than what came after. The two variants that came after this is still the best. Gudinski struck it rich with glam rock, and you could almost throw Split Enz in there as sort of art rock, glam rock. You know, that people dress up and put on a good stage show, make really great pop records, Skyhooks and Split Enz, and make millions of dollars for the owner, Michael Gudinski. But he started out with these sort of hippie blues, you know. But it was just a thing. You couldn't avoid it, you know. I mean, Matt Taylor had a huge hit single called "I Remember When I Was Young," and it's just a real sort of just a boogie, you know. And but it got to really got high up the charts. It's on this Mushroom label as well. I've got the single here somewhere. But it was that thing in the early '70s where all the before glam really hit. I'm sure it was the same in the UK and America as well. All these sort of nothing type bands with long hair and beards and flares, and I mean Black Sabbath fits that description, and but they were the exception to the rule. But there's so many, so many of those bands on that Vertigo Swirl. I got a few here, and they're just not good albums like this. It's not good. I mean, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's sort of okayish. But anyway, I'm going on too much here. It's all about presentation, and people. This probably would have sold pretty well to, you know, dope smoking types, and they'd think, oh boy, this will be like Yes or something. It is a little bit, but and at least he hasn't got a squeaky voice like John Anderson. There is one good track on it, 12-pound Toothbrush, the last track on side 2. But, you know, it's not a great song or anything, but it's pretty good. It's got a bit of grunt to it, but I actually played it and I thought, oh my god, I made a video about this yesterday, going, oh yes, it's, you know, and then I played it and went, holy shit, it's boring as batshit. Anyway, that's just how to sell. That's how they sold a shitload of records in the early '70s. Because it was a dead time in a lot of ways. And it's just any guy with a long hair and a beard that could play well with flares. Hey, let's form a band, put out a really bland record, and give it a really good cover and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, Uru, have a nice something or other.